Welcome to Dare, the show for innovators, entrepreneurs, and startup leaders who dare to shape the future. Your hosts today are Ned Hayes and Cecilia Mariani. Dare is brought to you by Darwaf, the superpower tech team that can make your vision a reality. The Dare podcast is happy to welcome Tyler Dunagin to the show today. He's the CEO of Turnserv. In the past few years, he's had a number of brands do over $1 million within less than 18 months. The second fastest growing company in Ohio in their category. He's been nominated as an Entrepreneur of the Year. He's an expert at building companies and products. So welcome to the show, Tyler.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And some big shoes to fill with the word expert. So I can't wait to get into it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's great to have you on the show. First of all, could you tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey? Where did you start and where are you now?
Yeah, absolutely. So stereotypical childhood ambitions. I always want to be doing something. Most kids did lemonade stands. I tried that. It wasn't really my speed. I used to draw comics and sell them, or I would try. And I got a few people to bite on those things. And that's what started it off. Fast forward, and my father owned a building company when I was young and would see him go to work every day, create things, you name it. And obviously, you want to be just like that when you're younger. And so the first thing I did after I got done playing college football was get into single family real estate. I started off flipping houses for outside investors. It was my own company, worked my way up. I had around a 15-person crew. Little by little, I just realized I created the most complex job in the world for myself. And I quickly got burnt out of doing it because I couldn't delegate. I lacked some managerial skills at the time. I was early 20s, and I just could not figure that out. I spoke to a mentor, and they encouraged me to look at multifamily real estate. So what that allowed me to do was focus on what's next, what's bigger. And through that, I actually started working in multifamily. And that's where I learned every nuance of the industry that I play ball in today. When I was working corporate America, I actually discovered the need for what I'm doing today. So I was trying to solve my own problems at first, just for me and my teams, by creating this, what would become a business. And very early on, I realized that what I had built was super useful. I had friends in the industry that would love to try it out and it solved big problems for them. And in 2018, I took a big leap and I left corporate America entirely. And that's what led me to Turnserv and what I'm doing today. And it's just been a compounding effect. One business leads to an opportunity to do another, build out a good infrastructure, have a great team, solve a big problem, and it's on to the next. So it's been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, fantastic. So you've leveraged small investments and a lot of sweat equity into larger investments and more sweat equity, it sounds like, right?
Absolutely. Spot on.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of actually building things out, like one thing that startup people often find is they're good at doing the thing. But then when it comes to hiring the team and building out a larger infrastructure, they may not have the skills to do that. So how did you gain those skills?
Yeah, I wish I said I gained them gracefully just through reading a book and it was easy and whatnot. I did the exact opposite. A lot of sweat and a lot of trial and error, a lot of realizing what did not work. So to gain those skills, example, when I was flipping houses and I lacked some of those skills.
Sorry, just to back up a second, could you explain what flipping houses is for people who may not be in this industry?
Yeah, absolutely. It's buying underserved, distressed houses, houses that have a lot of potential, but, some people call them ugly, if you would. And we would go in and remodel, spruce up landscaping, all of those sorts of things, and hopefully sell it for more than what we have into it. And then we would roll forward that equity and buy more houses with it and continue that process, really restoring living conditions for a lot of these types of houses that we were getting into and just beautifying the homes and reselling them for a higher dollar and on to the next. That's what flipping houses was.
Got it. Sorry to pause you there. I just know that some people who aren't in that industry may not know.
Got it. Got it. No problem at all. And, when I was doing that, I was ecstatic just to have a few clients where we were buying a house or two every quarter and I was figuring out how to do it. And I tried to systemize that, but I really lacked a lot of stability in that because there's so many variables. Each house you could get into, there was who knew what was going on with the foundation, the plumbing, the roof, whatever it might have been. And I didn't know how to build out certain things. I didn't realize how I could effectively manage people and incentivize them in more ways than just money, or hourly, I should say. And for me, it took going through that process and then getting involved in something like multifamily, such as apartments or what have you, that is built for scale, that forced me to learn how to build systems built to keep up with demand. The multifamily industry, apartments and whatnot, not a lot of people realize this, but half of renters move every single year. And
Really?
if you see an apartment complex, it has 500 units there. That means 250 of those people will move each year. And that creates 250 opportunities at that complex for my companies. Well, me as an individual, no way I could serve 250 units at one complex in a year. No matter how fast I move my hands, it's just not going to happen. So,
Right, right. Kind of reminds me of the calculations they've done on Santa Claus hitting every single house in the world in one night. How
yeah,
fast he would have to move, how much work he would have to do. You had to be like Santa Claus if you were doing 200. So there's no way you could do it as an individual. So what did you do?
sure. I started off as technician one, and I honed in what was profitable, what we could deliver in huge impact on, and I focused on doing one or two things, and that allowed me to build processes out around them. I knew how long each item should take roughly. I knew exactly the targets and the goals, and that allowed me to hire people once I had the processes and the SOPs built to replicate what I was doing, and it didn't require myself to be there to do it. And then over time, it expanded just beyond the service aspect of it. Then it would be the scheduling, the billing, the whatever it might have been. I would build out processes for each one of those. I would come up with metrics that were reasonable and they were attached to our goals. And I would hire good people and treat them well, and they would run those aspects of the company. And then it just became a multiplication game for us. So today we do hundreds of apartment units a month, and over the next couple of years, that will turn into thousands of apartments a month. And if we did not have the systems and infrastructure we have today, no way that those things get done. And our clients use us because of the predictability, the confidence that they have with us, the ease of use. And we are one of the few enterprise solutions our clients depend on that can keep up with the demand and the tight timeframes of multifamily. Most people don't realize you have 6 to 10 days to flip an apartment to get it ready for the next renter. And if all your stuff's not done, those property management companies owners are missing out on rent money that's critical for their viability long term. So timing is super important for us. And if we weren't built on systems for scale, we'd have a very tough time doing a good job.
Got it. So one of the key things there is hiring the right people and training them, right? Because you're actually creating a team. Like it's not just individual atoms, you're creating a whole system of people. And so it's not just the people, it's also the systems that you have to have in place, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me more about your systems. Like what systems have made you successful? Because you've had multiple different products, multiple different companies, and you must have some systems or strategic vision for how these work.
Absolutely. So the systems are critical, but I think one of the most important parts relating to our success has been pre-system. And what I mean by that is we don't go into something trying to be a generalist and do 25 to 50 different things. We specialize in one or two areas, and that's it. And that allows us to come equipped and ready to any sort of blip that might occur relating to that service. We've probably seen it 20, 30 times. And so we specialize, and that has helped us out immensely. Relating to systems and how that ties in, the big ones for us, ERP system, we CRM, we have dispatching software, obviously we have financial software and the common ones. And there's a slew of other ones that are attached on there. The biggest thing for us is we refer to it as the connectivity between information and data and currency. And I'll elaborate what I mean by that. If you are a client and you want something done, how much do you have to reach out and email and talk to somebody before you get the desired outcome that you would like? For
Mm.
us, we streamline that. We make that as convenient as possible. My team often says we sell convenience because that's truly what we offer. And so our systems are minimal. We everything we do is streamlined and we try to make it full circle. If we can create a convenient outcome for you, you're going to use us time and time again. And so, full circle with all of this, we try to make sure your need hits our production docket and it's dispatched, completed, billed for, and on to the next one as seamless as possible. So each one of those systems has to be completely intact and aligned with the previous one. And if one aspect breaks, we're going to feel the ripple outcome on the tail end of things as well. And it's happened before. That's how I know that. And luckily, we're able to identify quickly because everybody does the same thing the same way, following the same strategy or procedure outside of creative marketing or sales or things like that. So
Mhm.
those systems being geared together, facing the same target, the same direction, you name it, critically important. And then building the metrics and KPIs around them is where it comes full circle for everybody. And that's how we track, manage, and all those things without micromanaging people and letting them have lives outside of work.
Right, right. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit here, but it's partially because of the audience for the show. A lot of people who listen to the show are technology entrepreneurs or people who work in AI or other domains. Your specialty with Turnserv is really physical infrastructure, right? You're improving actual physical things. And in the world of AI and digital goods, I think this becomes increasingly monetizable. That if you're building a real thing, it's not something anyone else can really duplicate easily. So do you see that as a competitive advantage as well, or?
Absolutely. So Ned, I'll tell you a secret. When I first started Turnser, I actually wanted to pitch an idea for software.
Uh-huh.
And because I lived through the chaos of trying to coordinate multiple vendors, keeping up with dates, move out dates, inspections, you name it. And I said, oh, perfect. If there's a software that did this, I'll be good. Well, then I quickly realized it's much easier to pitch and do a service aspect versus a technology aspect. One's hypothetical and one's in demand right now. And the multifamily industry, that space has struggled to get concrete solutions built at scale to provide the support that's necessary. Now, to answer your question, we definitely have a competitive advantage relating to physical services, so to say, because of our network, because of our team, because of our reach. We're able to do things in the field today that certain technology or software just isn't in the building, as we say. We try to streamline through software as much as possible, and we have people often pitch us ideas to implement their software into our client base or what have you. And the number one thing, the number one reason why people come to us for that is because we are already in the buildings. We speak the language. They could build the coolest software product known to man. And if it never reaches the desk or solves the problems it's supposed to, it's going to be quite the large write off at the end of the year for that dev team. And our competitive advantages, our reach, we're in the buildings, our network, we're built for speed, scale, and quality all in one. So definitely a competitive advantage about us facilitating and actually being in such dwellings all the time.
Got it. Yeah. So in this world of digital goods, how have you kind of threaded the needle and been successful? You're actually doing something very different. So how do you pitch yourselves or how do you fund yourselves or what advantage do you have when you go in to either seek money from a private equity firm or if you're just bootstrapping, how do you make sure that you have longevity, that you have
Yeah,
runway?
yeah, absolutely. So there's no question services are not as attractive as some software, especially relating to VCs or private money or what have you.
Yeah.
We were actually private equity funded last year. And at this phase of our company and what we do, I would say we're in rare territory. I don't want to say we're the only ones that have done that, but there's definitely not a lot. And I think the biggest thing, the most compelling thing about our company and what we're doing is we're built for scale. The reality of it is you know this, if there's not a big opportunity for an investor to have quite a good outcome, they're not super interested. And so for us, we had to make sure that we can craft a story around actual projections based off of historical data that allows us to craft an outcome that is advantageous enough for private money or venture money to get behind. And because of how easy it is for us to scale and how light we are as a company, and some of the IP that we have, example, we have our own patented product. It's best in class in the industry, and a few other salient features like that. That was enough to bite for some of the money that we raised to be competitive and scale and beyond. Right now, after taking money, we've went from 3 locations to 5, and we have another 6 on the docket for this year. And it's because of the way we're built. So if we were a traditional old school service company where it's custom bids, lots of variables, we generalize and do everything, we'll take 2 weeks to do your project. If we weren't built for speed, scale, quality, and all those things all in one, zero chance we could usefully put that capital to work to get a good return for our investors. However, luckily, we're built to be predictable. We're built for scale. We're built for all of those things. And there's a realistic outcome in the next 3 years for our stakeholders.
That's fantastic. So people have been able to invest in you because they see the strategic roadmap that you've laid out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The opportunity is there and the team and infrastructure is there. and that's what they get behind.
Yeah. Well, I know before we started this call, you said that you had just come out of a big strategy session, I think.
Yes.
So, tell me more about what you're strategizing. I'm sure you can't tell me all the details, but what's top of mind for you right now?
Yeah, of course. And Ned, you got to govern me here. I tend to overshare, and I don't want to make my team mad. So if I get into the hot water here, make sure you throw me a raft. Uh,
Sure, sure.
so the what we were strategizing for 3 hours, hence me still wiping my eyes here. Sorry about that. Is we're looking at our sales and marketing efforts, and right now my goal is to improve quality of life for my team while also reaching our goals. And what we're doing is centralizing where we can and have to, and we're decentralizing elsewhere. So what I mean by that is support, sales, financials, other similar items will be done at the corporate level where there's better control, it's within arm's reach. And some aspects, such as our different branches throughout the US, will be done at the actual branch level because they're closest to the issue, such as scheduling or support or what have you. And so right now we're going over a complete overhaul, or going through a complete overhaul of centralizing our efforts. And what the 3 hour long session was looking at our efforts and seeing where we can improve. So we did some quick math, and I'll spare you from all the details. I'll share a couple snippets for you. We had to make 4,000 phone calls to meet our revenue goals last year. And we just reverse math that. And we were running a 9-to-1 ratio call to meetings. And then we had a different meeting to conversion ratio, and all this nuanced stuff that's just not fun to talk about. But when we did that, we realized if we just improved 20% in through on one category, it had a drastic outcome down the chain. And the crazy part is, we talk about software, we talk about efficiencies, we talk about all these things. And I'll say the magic word to some and the bad word to others. AI is everywhere today, and there's solutions through sales, marketing, analytics, you name it. And we are incorporating aspects of AI within our company to work alongside our people. And we're really just trying to become more efficient, more predictable, and get better outcomes without asking my team members to work 10 hours a day instead of 7.5. So we're just trying to be efficient and innovate and just get better results for ourselves and our clients at the same time, as streamlined as possible. So there's a lot more to go on that whiteboard session. I'm probably 3 days out from reaching the bottom of that whole equation, if you would. And then we'll have the fun of making sure that connects with production and support at the same time, and see if we can scale that to 50 locations here soon.
That's very exciting. Yeah. So, where do you see the industry generally following you, or do you see that you're kind of carving a unique path that nobody else is following?
Absolutely, it is a unique path. There is a massive need, and I'm very transparent. There's a huge opportunity in the industry. Anybody that's on the fence about getting into something service related, go multifamily first. I'm telling you, there's a lot of opportunity there. For us, we looked around, and there's a couple companies doing what similar things compared to what we're doing. Example, we'll talk about our painting brand, apartmentpainters.com. The reason why we called it apartmentpainters.com is because we didn't want to be Best Painting LLC. We wanted people to know right away we specialize in one thing. That's our niche. That's what we go with. And that has allowed us to really dial in and focus. There's not a lot of service offerings like that today. You'll find other generalists. You'll find Bob's Painting. They'll do schools, commercial real estate. They'll do apartments here and there, and they'll do single family houses. They're not built or specialized in one category, so there's no possible way somebody's going to produce the best outcomes for their clients if they generalize. So, long story short, there's an immense amount of opportunity, and we are proud to say that we are doing things a lot different than most companies in the space, and companies that have been here for decades. Keep in mind, we just started in 2018, and our most recent brand was started 3 years ago. And all of those things are built for scale. They produce revenue and whatnot. It's because of the opportunity in front of us, and because of the solution that we built that's specific for the market that we're in. So I wish that there were more people involved. It doesn't mean that it's less on my plate necessarily, but more people to network and collaborate with in the actual space itself. And I think over the next 5 years, there's going to be a massive uptick in opportunity in the space, from software tech to services to supply and beyond. And we're starting to see a little bit of that now. The service side of things is definitely lagging behind, and I understand why. So this is the part where I tell you don't get into services and just focus on the software. But the reality of it is there's opportunity everywhere if you build it the right way.
Right, right. We aren't going to have robots doing plumbing and bathtub maintenance and stuff anytime in the near term. And people still need bathtubs. People still need to have a place to live.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Hopefully it's the last thing that robots take over. And then hopefully it's
right.
20 plus years from now. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Well, so this kind of brings us to the end of our discussion. This has been really fascinating. I have a couple more questions. One is if somebody wanted to follow your path as an entrepreneur, first, you talked about getting into multifamily as being key and
Yes.
learning how to scale your team and your processes, also key. Any other pieces of advice that you would give people who might want to follow a path similar to yours?
Yeah, to get involved in the space, obviously the common ones are learn it and whatnot. Look at the opportunity. You want to make sure that you're getting into a space that's growing and where there's a large need. Not to knock any financial companies, but if you want to do something new and innovative and it's not technology, probably wouldn't start something that's been around for 100 plus years. And so when you look at the multifamily space, it's underserved and it's growing, it's predictable, has all these salient features that people just go crazy about, and my encouragement is build out an infrastructure with the end in mind. And what I mean by that is don't build it out and think, hey, I can do this, 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 and this on my own. Build it out and gamify it as if you're building this company for somebody else and you're able to plug and play certain aspects of it. Because in multifamily, scale is the number one thing that you have to be able to do. And it doesn't need to be as daunting as it sounds. Focus on one thing, do it better than anybody else, have a clever, authentic way of going to market, solve some problems, and convey that and treat your clients like gold and do it over and over and over again. And it will scale beyond your wildest dreams. And that's on the infrastructure side. The last part I'll talk about is the self development and mindset of things. You're going to have to break through some barriers. There's a lot of fear that can go into certain things when you reach certain levels. I remember when we first experienced hockey stick growth and we went from $250,000 in sales to $1 million in sales the next year. I was excited, but more than anything, to be honest with you, Ned, I was terrified because I was curious to see what the next year would bring. And so,
Right.
step by step, you'll get there. Surround yourself with a great team and incentivize them and align them with exactly what you're aligned with. All of my managers today have phantom equity, for example. And we talk about what's next and what's to come. We treat our service offerings like a software company. All those cool things that most software companies offer for new employees or certain milestones, we offer that from a service side of things, and we're able to get anybody and everybody out of the woods to come work for us. We don't need to find a specialist that just does roofing or just does masonry, so to say. We're able to get generalists across the board to come work for us because of the way we take care of our team members. And that's my encouragement. Have a really good plan, test that, talk to people, etc. But find a good team and treat them super well, have high expectations, and everything else takes care of itself. So take care of the small things, the larger things fall into place.
Great advice. Thank you so much, Tyler. Our last question, as always on this podcast, is what do you dare to dream? Which you can take in a variety of directions. What kind of future are you imagining? What do you dream for yourself or your family or the world or the country?
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about my individual self. That way, I don't go down too big of a rabbit hole anywhere else. I think this is a safe one. For me, my dream, I'll reference my company here. When I started my company, I didn't have any kids. I have three now. I was learning a lot. I was trying to find traction somehow, some way. And along at that time, you kind of affix certain things to, hey, that would make me super happy if I got this or if I did that. Well, as you grow and progress, you realize certain things, just you achieve a milestone, like, oh, that was cool, but not quite as fulfilling as I thought that would be. And so for me, what I dream of what I would absolutely love to do is get to a point, and we're mostly there now, to where I have enough free time and flexibility to work with other young entrepreneurs that are trying to go through this whole process. They're trying to get something off the ground. They don't know who to turn to. They don't have any options. Maybe they're not software based, so they can't get a lot of attention, so to say. I would love to work with young companies that are trying to grow, scale, get off the ground, venture back, private equity back, how they get there. I would love to save somebody 10 years of their life just by sharing my past 10 years experience with them. So if I could do that, that checks a lot of boxes for me. And from a work component, career component, and fulfillment component, those would check every box that I have. So my dream is to be able to work with companies of all sizes, of all ages, but do new things, innovate, update, carve outs, ventures, you name it. That's what I would love to do in the future.
Fantastic. Well, really appreciate your time today, Tyler. This has been a really invigorating interview and really thoughtful responses. And you have a thoughtful vision for your company. Best of luck with it.
Thanks, Dan. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Okay. Take care. Thanks to our guests today for their great insights on Dare, the podcast for innovators, entrepreneurs, and startup leaders. If you'd like your story to be featured on Dare, just contact us at info@darwaft.com. Dare is brought to you by Darwaft, the tech team that can make your vision a reality.